What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes, and today I'm gonna be reviewing and giving you guys builds for Leif, Nanna, Sword Reinhardt, and Green Olwen from the Thracia banner. So let us begin with Leif. Leif is one of the fastest units in the entire game with base 38 speed, but his attack is rather average at base as far as sword units go. He does have a respectable physical bulk, which is a great thing for a melee range unit, and he comes with a unique weapon, Light Brand, which gives him plus 7 damage in combat if the enemy's defense is 5 stats higher than their resistance. This also gives him plus 3 defense. Now this says plus 7 damage and not plus 7 attack, so you cannot use skills like Heavy Blade with this because it's plus 7 damage, similar to how Wodao gives you plus 10 damage. This is a rather inconsistent weapon for arena usage, but for in-game modes this is decent because you're most likely to find lopsided bulk there than arena, because with Weapon Refinery, many players do run Res Refinement to patch up the lower magical bulk of their tanks, and that means that Leif cannot get plus 7 damage against such mixed tanks. But many offensive units in the game do run Resistance as their bane, which helps Leif proc this effect against them, and if you want this effect to be consistent, then it is definitely recommended to run a unit on your team who can debuff resistance with something like Res Ploy Sacred Seal, or have an expensive skill like Res Smoke or Chill Res. So Leif does need team support if you want to use this weapon to its full effect, and he comes with Blazing Light as a special. I'm not really a big fan of these light specials because they are quite inferior to other AoE specials, so this can easily be replaced in my opinion. And he has got Steady Blow, which gives him even more speed to double a lot of units, but this can also be replaced by a better slot A skill that could give him some attack. His slot B skill is Stamina Drink, which cannot be inherited to any other unit, and it is an exclusive skill to him. Stamina Drink was actually an item in Thracia that would reset a unit's fatigue, and in Heroes it recovers 99 HP at start of a map. And I've used this in Tempest Trials and it's absolutely fantastic for any kind of endurance mode. This allows Leif to be a great passive healer and also run Fury, which is usually considered pretty bad for Tempest Trials and chain challenges, but he can run that thanks to this skill. This also gives him -1 cooldown at start of every map, so this pretty much has Quick on Pulse built into it. And it definitely has a lot more usage outside of arena, because in arena you're not really going to be using this to recover any kind of health. And at last he's got Drive Attack, which you could definitely stack up with a Drive Attack Sacred Seal. Leif is a fantastic unit for in-game use, but as for arena, he doesn't really appear very impressive because there are other fast sword units who can give him a very tough competition for that regard. And Ira in particular has got Regnalastra, which is a ridiculous special that she can use to abuse her speed, and with that she can even take out some really bulky blue units, and that is just insane. Mia has got even higher speed than Leif and a Voda weapon by default, and Leif cannot really make use of his speed stat like Ira, and his Light Brand is situational at best. Even then, Leif is a competent sword unit due to his good physical bulk and blistering high speed, and not a lot of units can double him, and one round KOing him isn't really all that easy because of his speed. His best boon is definitely speed, and the best bane depends on the set, but as long as you're not running a distant counter set on him, then Resistance is a pretty good bane. Now let's take a look at some of his builds. The first set is a Tempest Trial and Chain Challenge set, and even if you get him with minus speed or minus attack IV, you could definitely run this set and make him into a support unit. He can heal up units with Reciprocal Aid, and on every map he's going to be back to full HP because of his slot B skill. Fury damage is not really that big of a concern because of Stamina Drink skill, and if you do not have a Fury fodder, then you can just run his default Steady Blow skill, and the double Drive Attack lets him support allies for +6 attack. So overall he can be a pretty good support unit, and Ignis is an extremely strong special that becomes a 3-turn cooldown special because of Stamina Drink, and if you have a minus attack Leif, then you should absolutely run this special to make up for the damage output. Alternatively, you could also run Quick on Pulse to make Ignis a 2-turn cooldown special. He can many times proc this in a single round of combat, which is really good. And for the third set, you could ditch his Light Brand for a Defense Refined Sling Edge and make his Ignis a 1-turn cooldown special. This is a devastating set because it can even take out some blue units because of how incredibly strong turn 1 Ignis is, which he's going to be using to retaliate back on his very first round of combat on every map. and this can be used both in Tempest Trials and in Arena. This is actually a pretty fun build, and you can of course use an Infantry Pulse user to do the same with Light Brand, but with this set, Leif can have turn 1 Ignis on his own. Even with a minus defense IV, his defense is still pretty decent in my opinion, and you could run an offensive set with a speed refined Wodao or a Sling Edge and double ridiculous amount of units with his blistering high speed. With Wodao you want to run Moonbow, and with Sling Edge you can run Bonfire, or you could even run Moonbow for that 1 turn cooldown special. And next up you could run Steady Breath and Ether combo on him. With 6th and the 7th set you can run Stamina Drink to make Ether a 4 turn cooldown special, so it's pretty much Legendary Ike's Radiant Ether, and we all know how amazing it is with a breath skill for survivability. You could obviously run Quicken Pulse for Sacred Seal and have Quick Repose as slot B skill, but S-Ring will be fantastic for survivability in Tempest Trials and Chain Challenges. Set number 8 has got Sling Edge, and that makes Ether a 4 turn cooldown special, so you don't really need Stamina Drink for it to proc in 1 round of combat in the enemy phase. And if you end up getting a plus speed IV Leaf, then you could also go with Flashing Blade for his slot A skill, and you could also go with Moonbow and Desperation if you want to proc Moonbow on the second hit every time. And a minus speed IV Leaf could also run a more defensive set with Close Defense and Bonfire. This is definitely less expensive than Steady Breath, and with Close Defense he can do quite a lot of damage with Bonfire in the enemy phase. And at last you could just run him like Ira because he has got a lot of speed, and you could run a distant counter set with Wrath. Just make sure that he's not minus resistance IV if you're planning to run distant counter on him. And those were his sets. Now let's take a look at Reinhardt. This time Reinhardt is a Sword Cavalier with 35 base attack and really good mixed bulk for a horse unit. His speed is bad, but it doesn't really matter for him, and his stats are actually really nicely min-maxed. He comes with 11 Might Brave Sword known as Master Sword, which he had in Thracia, and this is a legendary weapon, using which he can attack twice both in the player phase and in the enemy phase. So as of right now, Reinhardt is the only unit in the entire game who can quad attack in the enemy phase. He also comes with Pavis as a special, which is not all that useful for an offensive unit like him, and he prefers having something like Luna or Bonfire or even Draconic Aura over this. This version of him does come with Death Blow by default, the best player phase skill for him, and Death Blow is an incredible skill for Brave Weapon users, as you guys know. Just like his Mage version, he has got Vantage by default. Now Vantage is really cool with his Master Sword, because when he's in the Vantage range, he will attack first and strike the enemy twice before they can attack you. Vantage is not really used on Brave Weapon units, but Reinhardt is an exception because of his legendary weapon, and at last he's got Spur Attack and Defense, which is the skill which only he has got as of right now. Reinhardt is an incredible top tier red unit because of his legendary weapon, and his offensive presence is monstrous in both phases, and his mobility is fantastic. Not only that, his mixed bulk is also really good, and he can also have access to Horse Emblem buffs. This makes Reinhardt the best Sword Cavalier in my opinion. If you get him with plus attack IV, that's just the best thing ever, and he doesn't care much about his Bane, but speed is the perfect Bane for him. Now let's take a look at some of his builds. The first set is an easy budget set that you can run for both phases. Luna helps him with high defense enemies, but it can even be replaced with Bonfire, Draconic Aura, or even Iceberg if he has got plus res IV. Quick Repose lets him quad attack in the enemy phase, and if you're really lucky, then he could end up in a sweet spot where he's both in the Vantage range and in the Quick Repose range. To increase the damage he can do in the enemy phase, you could also run attack plus 3 Sacred Seal instead of Quick Repose and keep Vantage for the second set. And the third set is a player phase set that is actually quite expensive because of Chill Defense from a branded King Crom, and Defense Smoke is a fantastic skill for a Brave Weapon user like him, and Quick and Pulse Moonbow is to get more 1-round KOs. The fourth set utilizes Brash Assault and Desperation combo. Reinhardt's mixed bulk is pretty nice, so he will not really have much trouble falling into the Brash Assault range naturally, and once he's in that range, he can quad attack in the player phase against all melee range enemies. The fifth set is a dedicated enemy phase set with Fierce Stance. In case you have got extra Dorcas or Zelgius, you could definitely go with this. And the sixth set is also enemy phase skill set, which you could run if you end up with a plus defense IV Reinhardt. With Horse Emblem buffs and double close defense, he can reach 52 defense, which is extremely high. And finally, you could run distant counter on him, and he has got decent resistance to run this skill, but I would suggest you only go for this investment if you've got a plus attack IV Reinhardt, because you need to hit absolute hardest in the enemy phase and you will not be having any kind of help from a slotted skill to increase your attack because you've got distant counter right there. So that's why only go for this if you've got a plus attack IV Reinhardt. And defense smoke, like I said, is a pretty nice skill for a unit like him, and you could even go with double savage blow like set number 8 for some fun, because after he has weakened down the enemies, he can easily take them out with advantage. So those were his sets. Now let's move on to his sister Olwen. This time she's a green unit and she has got excellent base 35 speed, which is fantastic for a horse mage. Her attack is base 30, which is less than Cecilia, but her speed is what sets her apart from the other green cavaliers, and speed is really important for a blade tome unit. So plus speed IV is her best boon and defense is definitely her best bane. She has a legendary blade tome which has got 16 might, and it doesn't have a special cooldown penalty like the normal blade tome, and this means that Olwen can abuse Glimmer and Heavy Blade Sacred Seal combo, and Glimmer is the best special for blade tome units, but her default special is Blazing Wind, which is a pretty decent AoE special, but Glimmer is the best. She comes with Swift Sparrow, which is absolutely perfect for an offensive unit like her, but the rest of her base kit needs to be replaced because Renewal has got no synergy whatsoever for an offensive unit like her. I do not even know why they gave this to her, and Green Tome Experience is a pretty worthless skill unless you want to train up a unit really fast for something like a Grandeur Battle, which is running out of the time. But outside of that, it's not really very useful, and she's the best green blade tome cavalier as of right now, and she's rather easy to build up due to native Swift Sparrow that she has got. The first set can be run on any IV Olwen, you just have to slap Glimmer and Desperation on her and you're good to go. And you can run speed plus 3 as a Sacred Seal, or you can even go with Heavy Blade Sacred Seal like the second set to proc Glimmer in every round. Heavy Blade does work with blade tome attack buffs, and if you end up with a minus speed IV Olwen, then you can definitely go with the third set if you're not going to be using her in a Horse Emblem team, and you can just go with all out offensive with a nuking set with Death Blow. Chill Resistance could be run on slot B for her, but it's an expensive option for this set, and Wings of Mercy is a good budget option. Now let's move on to the final unit, Nanna. After almost a year, we finally got a new healer, and Nanna has got the highest speed for a cavalry healer, but outside of that, she has nothing going on for her. Her physical bulk is terrible, and magical bulk is mediocre at best, and her attack is low at base 27, combined with the fact that she comes with Absorb Plus, which only has 7 might. She cannot really hit very hard like some other healers, and since healing is based on attack stat now, this reduces the amount of HP she can heal with Restore Plus. Absorb has got good longevity for her, but she's not going to be doing much damage to begin with, and thus not being able to recover too much HP back, but its AoE healing is pretty nice. She has got Restore Plus, which is a new skill that only she has got as of right now, so it heals up based on her attack stat and it neutralizes any sort of negative effects or debuffs on an ally, meaning that you could use this to help an ally who has got debuffed by Panic Ploy or debuffed by a chill skill, or even cure them of gravity or candlelight status. And the best thing is that they do not even need to be damaged for Nanna to use this on them. Panic Ploy and Ploy skills are pretty common in Arena, and this could certainly help with that. Her special is Imbue, and she also has Heavenly Light as a special, and Heavenly Light is amazing for rival domains and Grand Conquest where you have to heal up a lot of allies, and in general it's a pretty good special. She comes with Speed Res 2 as her slot A skill, which is useful because it puts her at 36 speed, and she also has Drive Defense. She has got somewhat similar stat line to Clarine, but she does have more attack and speed. Definitely not as good as Elise or many other healers who have got higher attack than her, but she has got Restore Plus and a pretty fantastic speed stat for a healer. And the best boon for her has to be attack because she can increase her damage output and also healing potency, and the best bane has to be defense. Now let's take a look at some of her builds. The first one is a budget set with Live to Serve, and it can be useful in keeping her healthy, and Double Drive Defense is also pretty good for supporting allies. The second build makes best use of Absorb Plus, so you want to run Dazzling Refine and run Guard as a slot B skill so that you do not charge up the special of your enemies as you poke them. Dual Breath of Life combined with Absorb Plus can heal up an adjacent ally for 21 HP, and that's insane. That's actually half health for a lot of units, so you could get some free chip damage on your enemy while healing up your allies at the same time. You could run Attack plus 3 for better healing over her default slotty skill, and you can also run Dazzling Pain of course with dual Savage Blow, and if you get a plus attack IV Nanna, you could definitely inherit Wrathful Staff from Jenny, and also run Gravity Plus with a Dazzling Refine, and she will be able to do decent amount of damage because of plus attack IV. So that is gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, then please be sure to leave a like And if you haven't already, then make sure to subscribe for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.